My people, what up, though? We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief. I got my two partners with me today. I'll introduce them in just a second. Bell and Prentice may hop on. Today's Bell's birthday, so he's out doing what he does, and Prentice got a baby on the way. So I think he might be like birth on Bell's birthday. So that could be kind of cool right there.
Congratulations, Bell.
Word, how it all blended together. Nevertheless, meet Tay and Ray. This is Tay, and that's Ray. We'll get on to why they're here in a minute. So before we begin the podcast, we always do a check-in. Fellas, check-in. You know what I mean? How you guys doing? How you been? How you feeling? What's going on? What's new? What it's like? How you guys doing? How you doing, Ray? Let's start with you.
Oh, no. I'm letting the young man set the platform first. Go ahead, young man.
Hey,
bless us. Bless us with your day.
I see you in the. I see Tay in the gym trying to get swole. He be in the mirror pulling his shirt up with the abs and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing to like kind of just keep me like focused and kind of just stay like productive.
Okay. No doubt. You working? How old are you, Tay?
I'm 19.
Tay's 19. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not working right now. Not right now.
Anybody out there hiring 19-year-olds, telling you the job, holla at him. Give my man a job.
No doubt.
Ray, talk to me.
Man, I can't listen. Anybody knows me. I'm waiting for the snow to go away, man. I'm all about golf. I'm ready to get my golf on.
You any good?
It's 53 degrees, and I'm waiting for the snow to go away so some of these golf courses can start opening up. So as soon as that's my therapy. As soon as that golf course opens up, I'm on.
Are you any good?
Oh, no doubt.
Say
no
what?
doubt. You stopped. We played together. You probably don't remember. This was probably like 8 years ago. We played together, me, you, Berto, and somebody else. But yeah, man, come on out. Come on out. Bring your wallet, though.
Last time I played, I was disrespected. My man Joe gave me a stroke of hole pause, and I beat him. And I never let him play him again. Don't play with me, y'all.
Wow.
He's like, you a stroke of hole. Yeah, you hold that L. Joe Miano, you play with Joe Miano?
Yeah, no, I never played with Joe.
Joe's not bad. He's pretty good.
Okay. Well, shoot.
He tried to play me, so I had to take the win. I was like, yeah, it don't matter how many you set the terms. I didn't set them. You know what I'm saying? So that's a win in my book.
Yo, it is, especially if he set the terms and he lost.
For sure.
Not
you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you co-signing my victory.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
No doubt. Take them as they come.
Word. So let's go off this spring for sure. I'll come out.
Okay.
I ain't no good, but I drive the hell out the car.
Yo, let's just have fun, man. Let's just have fun.
All right, yo. So check it. The reason I have these two gentlemen here, this might be one of our most impactful episodes in my opinion, but we'll dive into that in just a minute. But before we do so, let me introduce Tay. This is Tay Ron. Are you a junior?
Nah.
No. Okay, his dad's Tay Ron too, but he's not a junior.
Yeah, we got different middle names.
Okay, and this is Ray, Mr. Wilson, Dr. Wilson, if you will. Tay and I share a very similar experience in the fact that we have both lost our brothers due to random senseless acts of street violence. And Tay being 19, me being twice his age, you know what I'm saying? I dealt with it in ways in which I wasn't aware of at the time. And I dealt with it my own way, and I couldn't put words together to describe how I was feeling, whatever. And I could just imagine how he's feeling being 19, not knowing, not really having the words to put to the emotions or however he's feeling. So he's a good friend of my son, and my son was like, yo, you should come talk to my dad and maybe, jump on a podcast and kind of just get it out. I know for me, being able to talk about it took me some time, but in the long run, it was very therapeutic for me. So in having this conversation with Bell and Prentice, I was like, yo, I want to get the young boy on the podcast. They were like, if we're going to do that, we should probably get a real therapist. Hence, Dr. Wilson. Ray is a licensed therapist, and he got the LCSW, LMNOP, QRSTUV, how they have all them letters at the end of their name. Right. He got all that. You know what I'm saying?
I got to correct you. Not a doctor. Right.
But for these, so we got Ray on, and Ray's going to kind of help facilitate some of this stuff. But I'm basically I got a list of questions here. I didn't show Tay the questions at all. And these are all things that I spoke about or I was asked about throughout the years that I found to be very helpful in just getting off my chest. What I will say is, in order to create, in order to do this with Ray being here, you know, in a traditional therapeutic setting, there's confidentiality. In this particular case, we're posting this up for the world to see, whomever may tune in. So it's not an actual real therapeutic setting. Do we
Correct.
have your consent to have this conversation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got
Okay.
consent out the way. Ray
Okay.
and I had conversations, and Ray's like, listen, the main priority of our therapist is always protect the client.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna do our best to preserve the integrity of your character,
Correct.
and feel free to, you know, use the Kevin Hart pineapple's code word if, you know, if we touch on something that you don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, I'll pass or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, because I don't want you, you know, going down the rabbit hole of that, you know, that we can't pull you out of.
Right.
Um,
And Tay, the number one thing that I'm always concerned about is your emotional safety. You know, again, P said it best. If there's something that strikes an emotion with you and you don't feel like going into it, please feel free to pass. Again, this is not a therapeutic session. Because one thing I want you to know, whenever you go to therapy, you're going to be able to pick your therapist. And when you pick your therapist, I think I discussed this to you off camera. It's like dating. You know, that first therapist you may not like, but you want to find that therapist that you could build that rapport with. Just because you didn't like the first one doesn't mean you're not going to like the second or third one. You know, but find that person if ever you intrinsically want to do it. Intrinsically means that you want to do it on your own volition. You know what I'm saying? You want to do it, not because I'm pushing you to do it. Because when you do it on your own, the change and the progress is going to be beneficial. If you're there in a therapy session because I pushed you, you're going to be like, okay, when's this thing over? When's this over? And you may miss out on being honest with yourself, you know, and necessarily growing. Because as I was talking to P off camera, I was like, I asked him, how old is he? He's like 19. I was like, oh man. No offense. I'm up there in age. I like to call myself a man of a certain age.
no
You know,
doubt.
people like to ask me. I was like, I'm a man of a certain
Respect.
age. You know what I'm saying? And when you're a man of a certain age, no offense, Tay, but you're a baby.
Yeah.
You're a baby. And when traumatic things happen, such as a twin brother, a twin brother, you lose a twin brother. I'm like that. I I feel for you. You know what I mean? My heart goes out to you, you know? So I want you to know after this is done, if you ever need a referral, I got you. You know what I'm saying? If you ever want to talk, I got you. The same as P, we got you. We're going to take care of you. And the thing is, as Black men, we have to take care of each other. You know what I mean? And especially you being a young Black man, we want to make sure that you're still here. We want to make sure 20 years from now, when I see P, hey, how's Tay doing? I want to make sure that you're still not stuck. I don't want to hear a regression. I want to make sure I hear a progression and how you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No doubt.
Okay. So, um, with that, one thing Ray and I talked about was once this goes up, you know how in every post it allows people to have the opportunity to comment.
Yeah.
And there's always a troll out there who got some negative shit to say, or just, you know, who got something to say. So what we talked about was potentially putting it up and taking away the option for people to have comments, because you read something, somebody say something slick about your brother, you know what I mean? It could set a whole, you know what I mean? So we was like, we could just turn it off. But I was like, let me just ask him and see what he says. You know what I'm saying? I like to read the feedback, but I'm very much so for turning it off. So therefore, people can't comment on it, and they can just watch the video. And if they want to email us, they can do that. But in terms of just letting the trolls have access to it, we can take away from that. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind the comments.
You don't mind?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, we'll leave it, Ray. If something comes up that I don't like, I'll just disable the whole thing. If I see something that I feel like would offend him, I'll just delete the whole thing. Ray talked about where we go next. I talked about not having the language to put things out. You're 19 years old. At 19 years old, I was just getting into the whole poetry thing and learning how to use language in different ways. Again, for me, the big part was being able to talk about it. So I ain't got no pardon me. I ain't got no tissue, Ray. We from the hood. I got some paper towels.
No, no doubt. No
So
doubt.
you just hold on to them just in case. I'm telling you now, I would like you to get to a point where, I mean, I'm not asking you to cry. I'm probably gonna cry. I'm probably gonna cry because that's just who I am, and I'm it's been 12 years for me, and it feels like yesterday. So it's been 3 months for you about
3 months, yeah.
3 months, and so I know it's still raw. I know it's still there.
Yes.
One thing we do as men, Tay, which is why we developed this podcast. One thing we do as men is try to uphold that machismo and not cry and be vulnerable in front of people. I'm not asking you to cry. What I'm saying is it's okay if you do. You know what I'm saying? It's okay if you tap into those emotions because this is something real. I mentioned earlier it was your brother. I specifically didn't say twin brother. We can jump into that, but Ray said it. It was his twin brother, y'all. So it's a different kind of connection. You know what I'm saying? A very different kind of connection. So these are all very surface level questions, but it's, for me, again, it was good for me to just put this out there and talk about it because it proved to be a therapeutic measure for me. All right. So Ray, anything before I'm just gonna ask we jump into it and then we'll go from there.
Right. For me, again, I'm all about just making sure Tay is safe emotionally. So Tay, sometimes honestly, I may jump in if I notice that, again, that's just me. I want to make sure that you're I want to, how do I put this? I want to make sure when you decide, or if you decide to ever go see someone, that you understand when you go to therapy, is you're going to give that person consent to treat. You're going to have a rapport with that person. That's going to be the place where you feel comfortable going and necessarily stripping yourself emotionally and putting it out there and having someone listen without judgment. And that's so. Go on.
No, go ahead.
No, go on.
No, you're saying without judgment. I'm just saying.
Yeah, without judgment. That's huge. That's huge.
To piggyback on what you're saying, there is no judgment here, so you know. Yeah. I share a very similar experience with you. Secondly, I want to thank you for trusting me because it does take trust to come in here and to have these conversations. So thank you for being trusting enough to come here. I don't know if you're comfortable, but you trust enough to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, a potentially uncomfortable situation to help better yourself. So that's, kudos to you for that. So before we get into the dark stuff, tell us about Jay. Tell us about Jay. Give us a good story. What makes you smile about him, man? Give us a good one.
It was just like different. Like, I mean, I was born first, but he was just like so quick to like not like live life, but like he did so much. It just made me want to like kind of like just follow like after him. Like I always been like stuck in the house, like playing games, this and that. Like he did a lot. Like he loved to like travel, this and that. I didn't hop on a plane until like after everything, just because the simple fact that like I wanted to live my life like for him. He was like, yeah, he was a good person. He was funny.
So we call it. It's Tay and Jay, Tay Ron and Jay Lon.
Tay and Jay, Tay and Jay.
Yeah, Tay, Jay, and Ray. It was Tay.
Oh man,
Jay Lon.
Oh man.
I know Jay. They used to be. They were little shits at my house in the kitchen eating up all my snacks when they were younger. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of watched them grow up and whatnot. But okay, so I don't want to tell. I know I have my version of the story and what I was told about the story.
Right.
So I mean, this is the part where kind of it takes that kind of heavy drift or whatever. But what were you? Tell us the people. Tell us what happened.
Like how everything like happened.
Yeah, just what happened or what you know of what happened or whatever way you want to tell it, my man.
Yeah, so like I don't know. I was just like playing 2K. My mom come in my room saying that my brother got stabbed, this and that. But like they were like making it seem that like it wasn't like really nothing because like they didn't realize that he got stabbed more than once. So like I don't know. I was telling my mom's crying and everything. I'm telling her like chill out. But like by the time we got there, I guess they told us that like his heart stopped like twice. So like that was one of the big like problems with like everything. Yeah,
Did his heart stop?
yeah, yeah. It's and then like at like the next day, cause he like what they kept him on like a lot of medicine and stuff, like life support. The next
Mhm.
day it stopped again, and he had to get like one last surgery. He didn't think he was gonna make it through. He made it through, but the only thing was like if he were to like still be alive, he would like it wouldn't really be him. Like he would be on life support. Probably wouldn't like be like a vegetable. Like I don't know. So like
Mhm.
that was kind of like one of the hardest things that my parents like could have done, but probably like the best. But like even though like well like all the medicine it was making him like swole, so like it was just like I don't know. I rather
Mhm.
like keep the memories that I share with him than have to go see him
Right.
like that.
I
A question I got for you, Tay, is um, because we learn to cope from others. How did your mom deal with it?
Um, honestly, I could say like for a lot of people like coping was like kind of me just being like his twin, which is
Hmm.
also like a lot on me because like you know a lot of people like say like not really like being with him is like being with me, but like I don't know. With me,
Right.
I like to just be alone, but like I learned that's not the best
Right.
thing for me right now.
Uh, Before we get into you, how did your mom? Because first, just let you know where I'm leading.
Oh,
I'm going to ask how your mom cope with it and how did you see your dad cope with it. I just want to see how your surroundings dealt with dealt with this
how's your
tragedy.
mom dealing with it?
my dad honestly, my dad and just her kids, it just made us like more like closer like as a family like because you
Hmm.
never like really know like what's gonna happen like any day
Hmm.
or anything.
So your mom, the way she's coping with it is like diving into her kids, just
Yeah, just
basically just
yeah.
heavily investing in her children now,
Hmm.
trying to stay
Basically,
occupied with
yeah,
you guys.
yeah,
Okay, what about your
yeah,
dad?
yeah. The same way. And my dad too. Like he doesn't like he wants to like he keeps himself focused. Like he works and all that, but he stays in the gym 24/7. Like that's what that's his best way for him to like
Yeah, so
keep his mind focused.
I actually bumped into his dad to like to his dad in the gym and asked him for
Hmm.
permission prior to even talking to Tay. Like, yo, is it okay if I get your son and we, try to help him move in a better direction of healing? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So your dad, he works and works out
Yeah,
and then just dives into his kids. That's how he's been
yeah,
handling it.
yeah.
Okay. Um,
Have you guys sat down and talked about it?
Um, we did for like the first 3 weeks. I could say like we had like a lot of family talks. It's not like
Hmm.
I don't know. It was more like more just to like let everything out, but I don't know.
what if I don't? I mean, if I may, what were the discussions like? Was it conversations of memories of Jay?
Um,
Was it ways in which you all need to come together to keep to keep his spirit going? Like I don't.
yeah,
What was the
mainly
conversation
that,
like?
but like also like just making sure that we go like we don't go down from like this point. That like we don't like basically like I don't know like get caught up in like depression and all that, and just like not forget like that we're still here too. That
Okay,
we
Right.
still like I don't know just
okay.
Hmm.
gotta
That's
live our life.
you
Yeah.
mentioned the depression word, and I can tell you it happened to me at 28, and I spent I'd say about 2 years in a depression. At the time, I didn't know it was depression. I figured this was just I was sad, and it came with whatever. But until much later, I didn't realize how dark of a place I was in. And I'm not saying you're there or you're even going to go there. It sounds like you had a better, I had a good solid support system, but I still handled it the way I handled it.
Yeah,
But it sounds like you got a good support system behind you and they're motivating you to do and be better and remember to be thankful
yeah,
for, for still being here.
mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. And I can relate to you in terms of like slightly in terms of that whole hospital experience. That was one conversation that I never really told people about my experience in the hospital, and it was completely different for yours. My
Mm-hmm.
mind was gone when he was there, so we didn't have time to like that those couple of days where you still had hope.
Yeah,
I guess you know what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
So it was different, but it was still it's something that people don't I was telling Ray earlier, it helped me a lot to know that there was someone out there who knew exactly how I was feeling.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I was like okay with coming here.
Because for me, like I've been to many funerals and I've paid my respects, and you feel bad. You know, you can empathize with the family, but it's a different feeling when it happens to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it feels completely different. It's not like, I'm just going to a funeral and I feel, I lost this person. When it's someone close like that, the feeling is, it's just different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And with that, it took me, and what's crazy is it wasn't even a brother, it was a woman, excuse me, a woman who lost her husband right around the same time. And I mentioned it in my play, and I say we walked past each other, and she asked me how I was doing, and this might have been like maybe like a month after we both lost our people, and I didn't say anything. She asked me how I was doing. We locked eyes for like, it felt like a minute, but it might have been like 10 seconds. I didn't say a word. We nodded our head and kept walking, and it was probably one of the most powerful conversations I've had. Like the look we had was like, I know exactly how you're feeling. I'm sorry you're going through it, but we're gonna be okay. Like that's what that look said. And it was like it was big for me. I went to my office. It was during at work. You remember Sharon Locke?
Yep.
It was Sharon Locke.
I love Sharon. Yep.
Yeah, Sharon was good people. But when she lost her
Hmm.
husband, we locked eyes, and that was
Yeah.
a big changing point for me because it just
Hmm.
it was like, wow, somebody knew exactly how
Right.
I was feeling. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So if it's any consolation for you, which I don't expect it to be, it's still early,
Yeah.
but I know what this feels like. It wasn't my twin,
Hmm.
but I know what that feels like. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that I guess the book says, traditional book says it takes about 8 months to go through all the stages of grieving. And my thing is, uh, I don't put timelines on grieving. When you lose someone that's instrumental in your life, and it gets no instrumental than a twin brother, um, you grieve as long as it takes you to grieve, and don't feel like you have to. Oh, I have to hurry up. I have to grow up. I'm like, listen, it's a tragic thing that just happened. You lost your twin brother. I'm like, as long as it takes, we're here with you. It's not something where you need to feel like, okay, let me push it to the back and let me move forward. Some things, some things we don't want coming back up when we're 30 years old. I don't want you dealing with this as at 30. I don't want dealing with that 40. You know, I want you to understand that I give you permission. P give you permission. Everyone should give you permission to grieve the way you want to grieve. You know what I'm saying? And don't feel like you have to rush through this process. It's not a rush thing, you know? I just want you to be aware of that.
I agree, and if I may, I can tell you like there are things that'll happen that will just bring you back to certain moments of your childhood with him, or
Hmm.
just the memory of him, not being here or that night or whatever. Like my brother passed. We just February 22nd was his 12-year anniversary, and February 22nd, 222. I go places and I just look up and it's building 222 right there. I turn, look to
Hmm.
the left, the car's license plate is 222. Like there's always
Hmm.
those little things that kind of remind you of your brother. I'm watching a TV show one day, strange as hell. This character had nothing to do with the show. He had like maybe like a 30-second clip, and he was like, "Yeah, she had a son." And then he like the camera paused and like, and his name was Julian, and like zoomed in on. I was like, it was just crazy how that
Hmm.
happened in that moment. But there's always something that kind of brings you back and reminds you of it. And your emotions, for me, again, you may be different. Your emotions are all over the place. You could just be watching TV one day and just bust out crying. You could be in the middle of a bad mood and laugh and bust out laughing because you think of something. I remember when he did this and during this last situation. So it's crazy
Hmm.
how the emotional imbalance happens, but
Hmm.
whether it's laughter or tears, it's still a good thing. It's a release, and it helps you.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So
And give yourself permission to do that, you
do
know?
do
Give
so,
yourself
man.
permission.
Like I feel like these young cats don't get it, Ray. Like I respect
Mm-hmm.
you for being tough right now, but I'm telling you right now,
Mm-hmm.
if it was me telling the story, I'd have broke down. If I had to
Right.
tell my story right now, I would break. I would just lose it because
Mm-hmm.
I've grown comfortable in exposing that vulnerability. Like I'm not afraid to
Right.
be emotional in front of people. Like it's a part of who I've grown into. So I commend you for being so tough. And the people probably watching like this young man, he going through, but he all right. He a strong little dude. So
Mm-hmm.
we
Mm-hmm.
don't know what's going on the inside, and we ain't gonna dig too deep right now. But I just know
Right.
having these conversations was something that helps. Just
Mm-hmm.
being able to tell people about how you were feeling and what's going on. So one of the questions I had was, what was your initial reaction? I think you told me about it, but said you were playing PlayStation,
Yeah.
and your mom came in and told you,
Yeah, my mom and my sister.
and they were obviously
My mom was crying. My sister was like shocked. I was shocked too. And then like she had it on speaker. So like that's when like the lady said like, oh like he don't look that bad, this and that. So I'm like, all right. I just like took that and ran with it.
right. So you still had hope.
Yeah,
What's crazy
yeah.
is we had the same thing for me, Ray, when because my brother's pop was knocking on my door at
Mm-hmm.
2:22 in the morning, and how crazy is that? And he's, I just hear he has a heavy Trinidadian accent. Like, they killed my son, them killed my son. I'm like, what is he talking about? It's late, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then I immediately called Bell, and I'm like, yo, Peanut got shot. And our response, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, niggas get shot every day, B. You know what I'm saying? So we was
Right.
like, there was nothing wrong with him. Like, he got shot. We gonna go pick him up. Everything's gonna be good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even I hear this man yelling, they killed my son, they killed my son.
Right.
It hasn't registered yet
Right. Right.
until I get to the hospital and I see that, and we don't got to get. It's not about me right now. We'll get into that some other time. But
Yeah.
you shared your thoughts about what was going on. Are you familiar? We'll get into that in a second. How have things, obviously, losing your brother, but how have they changed for you? How do you go about your day to day now without your day one, your ride or die by your side? How does that? How do you manage?
Uh, I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like he's still with me. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, sometimes I wake up in like bad moods and like, but then I just like snap out of it because like it's more than life than to walk around angry all day.
I hear that. So you experienced some of that anger?
Yeah,
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second.
yeah.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it sounds to me like the young man's resilient as hell. It sounds like
Sounds
he's
like,
a lot stronger at 19 than I was at 28.
well, hey, I'm happy he had his mother and father there. Happy he had, because not many people are fortunate to have a mother and father there to help them through this time, And I give props to your mama and father, and it seems like your father is in the gym. He's keeping himself busy, you know, because wh- I I have three kids of my own, and I don't know how I would deal with that. It wouldn't be as easy as just go on with the next day. Sometimes we have to find there's a term called sublimation. We have to take a negative and turn it into a positive. Like for instance, going to the gym. I have negative feelings. I've been impacted traumatically. I have to find an outlet for it you know and I could definitely see myself doing what your dad's doing, just go to the gym every day just to work off that, just to keep my mind off losing a child. And again, as a parent, that's the last thing I want to do is outlive my child. That's the last thing on my mind, and I don't want to do that. And so your parents have the dubious distinction of saying, I lost a child, and that's not what ever. That's something they would never wanted to say in a million years, and live with that. And that's something they're always going to remember. They're always going to be thinking about Jay until they go away. They're going to be thinking about Jay, But luckily, they have a reflection of him each and every day. You know what I mean?
Which is as crazy as that sounds, which is
Hmm.
kind of fortunate. Like
Mm-hmm.
they get to keep his spirit alive by looking in your
Yep.
eyes. Ladies, I don't know, you
Exactly.
got some pretty eyes too. You know they say light
Yeah.
skin with pretty eyes.
Yo, yo,
You
I,
sit when you sit
yo,
in the school with the
yo,
school, you know what I'm saying?
yo. I'm kind of embarrassed, man. I should have dressed up. I got this pretty dude all on the camera.
Hey,
Man, should told me you was bringing a pretty dude up here, man.
they've always been fly though, Ray. Can't front.
You
Him
know what
and
I'm
Jamel always been
saying?
the fly
I'm
cats. They've
like,
always dressed very well.
I'm like, yo, I need to get the camera angles on me right, man, so I can try to look as good, you know?
Yeah. So again, I applaud you for your strength, man. It seems like like you got a solid foundation around you, encouraging the positivity, which is cool. My people did that, but I was still,
Right.
it hit me hard.
Wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
I wasn't
Wasn't
ready.
ready. Mm-hmm.
It was very, very difficult, man. And
Mm-hmm.
you, I just have to commend you. What
Yeah.
another thing that helped me to heal was reading. I read a lot because I just didn't know much about death.
Yeah, so like that's like kind of my thing too. Like I just be reading like anything just to like learn, like just to like just keep me like focused. Honestly, like I just go on my phone, I just Google anything and just start reading.
See, I was specifically looking for ways to help me get better. Like
Okay.
it was because I was bad. I was in a bad spot, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I stumbled across the 5 stages of grief. I think I got the book over there. Actually, I can give it to you if you want to take it. But nevertheless,
Mm-hmm.
are you familiar with the 5 stages of grief?
Nah.
Okay. So they say there's like 7 stages, whatever. But the one I read was the 5 stages, and basically they're saying when you lose someone or when you're going through this emotional period, there's 5 stages you go through, and it was good for me because I was like, wow. And reading it was kind of gave me the same feeling, like, wow, someone knows what I'm going through, and I could kind of pinpoint which phase I was in throughout the course of time.
Right.
And so the first stage is denial. For me, it was like I said, I was like, yeah, niggas get shot every day, be like he's good. Like I wasn't trying to hear
Mm-hmm.
it at all. We go to the hospital. I find out it's true, and I remember the very next day. My mom lived in Bristol. I'm walking down the street in Bristol, screaming at the top of my lungs, down in a residential neighborhood. Somebody help me! I lost it, and I ended up calling a dude that I rarely ever speak to. I think I Facebook called him,
Right.
and he had lost his brother. I'm like, yo, I need help. How did you do it? How do you do it? I was a fucking mess. I was an absolute mess, and this was day after. So I don't know how the first couple of days were for you, but it was rough for me. But I was definitely at a point where like I just didn't believe it happened until the actual day of the funeral. I went to the funeral, and it was like COVID sucks too, because at the funeral, like you can't even really show love because you can't be in there. You got to be in. You got to be out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm glad they gave us an opportunity to go in there, but
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Right. Go through the stages, Mike.
And then there's anger. You said you experienced some anger.
Yeah.
What did that feel like for you? Before you answer, I'm gonna tell you. For me, it was a rage I've never experienced. I'm talking about It was a rage I've never experienced. I've never been that angry in my life. And it's just something that comes with losing someone that fills you with anger. And it sounds like you've had a small portion of. I don't know how if you're in that phase now, but tell us what that anger felt like. What did it feel like for you?
I mean, it's more like just like I feel like I should have been there with him. That's what like kind of like really drives like my anger.
So that's the next phase. It's called bargaining / guilt. Bargaining, the phase where the what if statements. What if I was there? What if I told him to stay home that night? What if I could have pulled him away? And that's the third phase, like the bargaining phase of it all, where it's like, what could I have done to make this any different?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when you go from not believing it happened to being so pissed off that it happened, and then feeling guilty that you weren't there, and if you were, it wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? But we can't control how God works. And then this was the big one for me, the depression phase. So it's denial, then there's anger, then there's the bargaining / guilt, and then there's depression. And for me, it was bad, man. I want to say I can't tell you at what point it happened. I might want to say depression started. It started from the moment I realized it was real, but it took me like 2.5 years. No bullshit. Like 2.5 years to finally be like, the final phase, accepted. Acceptance is the final stage. So it's denial, anger, bargaining and guilt, depression, and acceptance. And it took me like 2.5 years to be like, it happened. You honor his memory, and you keep pushing forward. You said that just a moment ago when we started that you're pushing forward, and that is not something I said until 2.5 years later. I faked the funk for everybody else, and I was poking my chest out and hugging the folks and trying to be strong, but I'd go home and just cry on my lady's arm for hours on top of hours. You know what I'm saying?
Because
So
one of the things is we don't want you. Previously, I mentioned the word stuck. We never want you to be stuck in any of those phases, especially anger and depression. Uh, if we think back, at least for me, I know a lot of people who got stuck in those two states, anger and depression. And when they stayed there for a long time, to where some of it even ruined their life and ruined their health. Not many people want to talk about necessarily how anger can necessarily have takes a toll on your body. It takes a toll on you in a physiological way, you know. And not many people want to talk about that. Depression. We're talking about the equilibrium thing where sometimes in the chemical imbalance, some people don't come back. Sometimes they need the medication, to where they become, God forbid, that they contemplate things they shouldn't be contemplating. So when we talk about being stuck in one of those stages is very serious, very serious. And that's how come the mental health profession takes people losing people very seriously, because we understand what some of the repercussions can be if some of it are not addressed with people who have their appropriate support, like thank God Tay has a support staff, a support team. You had a support team, even though you said you were being tough with it, but you still had people around you wanting to support you. Now just imagine you have nobody. Where do we go from there? Where do you go? Now there's nothing to bounce off. Now it's just I hate to go with Get Out, you in that sunken place, by yourself, so I applaud both of you brothers for coming out of this.
So with that, just recognizing those or understanding those five stages, it can kind of help you understand where you are within the process of moving towards healing. And it was good for me because I could tell I was when I've learned of it when I was in the depression phase, when I was
Mhm.
realized it was bad, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely the depression phase. And I tried to push through and tried to fight through, and it just didn't work until certain things came about in my life. But it was very, very, very monumental for me to learn of these and to read of them. Um, I know like he said, you got a solid foundation, but he mentioned something in that anger leads to different coping mechanisms. My brother's dad started drinking and doing drugs. And I don't think I've ever said this out there. So my brother had an extensive insurance policy, right? And I held my brother's dad's money in my account. And I know I asked him he's okay with me telling the story, but
Mhm.
he would come to me and ask me for $5,000 here, $10,000 there, and I'm like, it's not my money. It's his son's money. Whenever he wanted, I gave it to him. I'm playing the stoop one day, and one of my homies is there talking to the dope boy, and I hear him tell my boy, he didn't know me. He's like, yeah, man, I got rich off of Julian's dad, man. That dude buying everything from me, and that's how I found out he was doing drugs because all of the money I was giving to him was going to the dope boy.
Yeah.
And then before I could confront him about it, he was drunk, crashed his car into another car or something, ended up getting a DUI and went to prison for like 8 months.
Yeah.
got sober in prison, hasn't had a drink since then.
Yeah,
But
he was,
that was the way he coped with losing his son.
yeah, he
You know
was
what
in
I'm saying?
pain.
So, and my son told me that a time or two you may have taken that same coping mechanism. He
Hmm.
ain't put you on front street, but he told me you take. So that was important for me to tell you. Like that's obviously, we
Yeah,
all do what we do, but
it's pain, emotional pain, you know. And sometimes we're looking for something to subside it, you know, make it bearable, help me sleep, you know. Um, it's real, man. This is like uh, people don't understand how fragile our mind is. You know, when we lose a loved one, that's in our head. As much as it is reality, that person's still in us. That person's still with us, you know, and it hurts. And so many people they find ways to cope with it. Uh, Previously, I mentioned sublimation. I'm like, I'm happy to see your dad found an outlet for that. Not many people can find that positive outlet. You know, for some people, it is alcohol, it is drugs. And when they're doing it, they can't get enough because it can't dull the pain enough because eventually it wears off and the pain is still there.
would Ray, would you be willing to sit in on a convo with his dad?
Oh, if his dad wants to, yeah, it's
I
not
mean,
up to me.
I'll ask him and see what he says. But I think again,
Yeah,
that's one thing that black men don't tend to be
right.
like, yo, I need help. Like his dad's
Yeah,
he's posted some things on Facebook saying how he's how he misses his son and yada yada yada. But I don't know if he's ever even thought about going to see a therapist. Do you know?
right.
I mean, I don't know. He told me. Told me I should, but I don't know.
So
Hmm.
if I may, why do you think he told you that you should? What is he? What do you think he sees in you that says my son probably needs some therapy?
Cause I try to not like keep like act like it never happened, but I try to just like go on.
So he's doing the compartmentalization, right?
Hmm.
So one thing we do
Yep.
as men, in general, with a bunch of shit we have going on in life, is we compartmentalize. What that means is we take whatever trauma we're going through, put it in a little pocket, in a little bag, and store it somewhere deep down in our brain. But what's going to happen is somewhere along the line, something's going to trigger you, and it's going to unload that compartment. And with that compartment now, it's that sadness, that depression, that anger, and that's going to cause you to react in a way, or could potentially cause you to
Hmm.
react in a way you don't want to because you haven't taken the opportunity to address all the issues in that box. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that
Hmm.
and that could be a very scary thing. And
Yeah.
that's why we created this, because as men we have a tendency to hide
Hmm.
our emotions, to not talk about stuff like this, to act like it never happened. No, it did, Tay. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It did.
Mhm.
And you know, the first question that comes to my mind is, as Tay's dad recommends that he go to therapy, how come Tay's dad doesn't recommend we go to therapy? You know, and that's just me thinking out loud.
And that
You know, because actually he's dealing with the exact same thing. It's not like you're on an island by yourself. You know, this is his son as well. So what I if that would be the question I would that'd be the first question I would ask. Like, isn't I thought we're in this together. This is a we thing. It's my brother, but it's your son, you
so
know. So
that's
I would go on.
that's a key point, Ray, because I remember I don't know if this is gonna help in Tay in responding for Tay Senior response, but
Hmm.
I was big on pushing my mom and my brother to go to therapy and took them to
Hmm.
see a psychic twice. You know what I'm saying? Like just to kind of know dead ass, to kind of like help them cope with it.
Right,
But at no point did I say you need help, like as in
right.
me. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
you're
saying?
the
So I
sick
think
one.
that could be the
Yep.
same thing Tehran is
Yeah.
thinking. Like, yo,
Oh, I know.
I need to make sure my son is okay and not really
Right,
focusing on himself.
right. He
You know
needs
what
to
I'm saying? So that, I
understand it.
mean, that's kind of what a
He's dealing
dad's
with it
supposed to
too.
be doing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Right.
And
But you know what? Dad needs to keep himself afloat too, because because Tay's going to need him. You
yo,
know.
can I share? I want to share this. Do you guys believe in psychics and shit like that?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I laughed when you said that, because I like some. I get my family took me to do something like that too.
Recently?
Yeah, like maybe like the first like 3 weeks. I don't know. I don't.
What did you tell me about your experience in that? I'll tell you mine. So when you went, like, what was it like? What did you were you a believer walking in? Were you skeptical? Were you like,
Nah, I was not a believer walking in.
were you a believer walking out?
I mean, she said like a couple stuff, but I don't know.
What did she say? It could be. I mean, we know it's
Like,
hard to articulate this stuff. I don't want to push the envelope, so it's not you want to talk about. We got to talk about it. But anything she said that had you be like, wow, like this might be true, might be real. Anything you can remember?
I'm trying to think. It was like literally like the first like 2 weeks like after it happened.
Mhm.
How did you feel? If you don't remember what she said specifically, how did you feel leaving there?
I don't know. Maybe like he is like still still with us, like spiritually, I guess.
Mhm.
So she gave you some hope that like that whole he's looking down over you type thing and always with you type thing.
Hmm.
So get this, my story. The lady, shout out to Patty Sinclair, the lady you hear on the radio sometime. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
So Ray, I was big on helping my brother and my mom heal, and she's like, I'm like, you want to go serious? Like, yeah, I want to go serious. So I'm like, nah, this is some bullshit. Whatever. I'm not a believer. So
Mhm.
we go. It's just like maybe like 30-foot room. I'm in the back corner by myself. My mom, my brother over there. I'm on the couch playing on my phone, and they're talking. And she's like, "So, Tay, does I'm I'm the letter J. Does that ring a bell?" And you're like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
that's like
saying?
she was saying stuff
That
like
type of
that.
stuff. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like you can tell like it's kind of
Yeah.
baiting you. Like, Ray,
Hmm.
the letter M's coming up. Do you know anybody? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, I
Mhm.
called my mom.
Mhm.
Well, your mom. You know, so I'm like, whatever, right?
Mhm.
That day was the day I found out I was having a girl.
Mhm.
My girl at the time was pregnant, and we had found out that day that I was having a daughter.
Mhm.
They're talking for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Mhm.
She stops. And she's like, "So, Michael, how are you?" And I'm on the other side of the room. I'm like, "I'm fine, thanks." She goes, "So, who's the little girl?" I fucking lost it. The very first thing she asked me was, "Who's the little girl?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" "I'm seeing a little girl. Your brother says he talks to her." And I lost it right then and there.
Wow.
And I told her I was having a baby, and she was like, "Yes, your brother. They've met. He speaks to her all the time." Like it was the craziest shit ever.
Wow.
And it's there's no way she could have known. My brother was a big case, so she could have like Googled some stuff or whatever, but she didn't know who
Mhm.
people were coming in. But the first thing
Mhm.
she asked me how I was doing, and she said, "So who's
Mhm.
the little?" She said, "So who's the little girl?" And I just
Right.
I broke down crying. So I left there like shit could be real. Like I left there a believer. Where I can't front.
Okay. Okay.
I can't front.
Okay.
It
I
was.
I don't have an experience. I don't have an experience with. I've never, mind you, I'm not discrediting anything. I never had an opportunity to go to one, or no one's ever suggested we go to one. So I don't have a background in it.
No, it was pretty bugged out, man. It really, really
Mhm.
was. Um,
Was it tarot cards too?
nah, it was nothing. She was just having conversations. They're just like
Yeah.
sitting there, like I guess falling into her zen. And then she
Hmm.
started talking about my grandfather, a good friend my mom lost back in the day,
Hmm.
and they started talking about my brother.
Oh, okay.
It was the strangest thing, but it definitely like shook some up in me. I'll never forget that moment.
Right.
Wait, when it was so casual. Who's a little girl? And I just like every emotion I had just ran through me. I just busted out crying. It was like I didn't know how to
Wow.
respond. Yeah, it was crazy. Um,
Wow. Hold up. I got a quick question. Like Tay, who pushed the psychic agenda?
She like she was
No,
like
no,
she's like a friend of
no,
my
no, no,
mom.
no, no. It was your aunt that wanted you guys to go.
Like yeah, it's like one of my aunt's friends. So like she like suggested that me and my family should go.
Okay. Is this uh, again? The diaspora is real. Every Even though we black, many people do many different things. You
Hmm.
know, is this part of your side of the family culture that you guys, when a death happens, or I'm just asking. I don't
No,
know.
no, 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 no. No.
Okay, that was the first time you guys ever
Yeah,
did
that was
that.
the first, yeah. I never. I mean, I've gotten like a tarot card reading or something like that, but
Yeah.
not. I never went to like a psychic.
Okay. I just wanted to know, Mike. That's all.
I
I,
mean,
I, I was I was I was going nowhere with that.
I mean,
I
this is an
I just
open
wanted to
forum, man,
know.
open conversation.
Yeah, I just wanted to know.
I'm glad we kept it lighter than I anticipated. It's going in a complete different direction. So I'm glad it was,
Oh no.
it was light and still kind of, surface level
Yeah.
for me, because
Yeah.
it could have got real ugly. So my question is my statement is, it sounds like you really are moving in a better direction than I was, and again, I
Mm-hmm.
commend you for that, because I was in a bad place. But how do we continue pushing you and helping you and guiding you and assisting you in whatever we can to make sure that you are moving in a better direction and don't totally succumb to, tipping the bottle or making poor choices? How do we help you with that?
I mean, it's good to like talk about like everything. I don't know.
Do you think this has served as a support? Do you, like, will you leave here feeling a little bit better? Like, did it help at all? I don't know.
Yeah.
If it, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it did.
Yeah, now I feel like at first, like the whole like therapy thing, I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing therapy. Like,
And
I
that,
mean, like,
and well, I can tell you that is why we started this, bro. Because just as men in general, like, nah, I'm not doing therapy. Would
mm-hmm.
you be open to a private session with a real therapist, and just kind of letting them kind of pick your brain apart and find out, you know,
Yeah,
what's going on? So,
yeah,
and I'll be very candid. I don't mean to offend anybody in your family or your upbringing or whatever. But when my son told me that you had, taken a couple of drinks or whatever one day, just kind of help yourself deal with it,
mm-hmm.
and I explained it to Ray, one of one of the thoughts that came to his mind, well, he didn't just learn that. You know what I'm saying? And this type of stuff that therapists will help you dig into. But when he says he didn't just learn that, like somewhere growing up, you learned that drinking was a way to cope with pain or deal with emotions or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you saw that somewhere.
I can say like really like what it is like, I don't know, maybe it's just like this era, like smoking, this everything, like I don't know. Like
Mm-hmm.
So you think it's a cultural thing?
yeah, I would really say that, like it's hard, like it's just crazy, like to think like at first, like I don't know, like there's a lot of people like so against smoking now, like everyone smokes, like just like I don't know. But like yeah, the whole like drinking thing, yeah. I'm not a drinker though, so
Right, but
it's
that
not
was
not like but yeah.
so here. And here's the crazy part. That is kind of like the cultural norm. They do say weed is
Mm-hmm.
beneficial for some people, and I can't confirm or deny that. Some people have,
Right.
I've never been drunk or high a day in my life. You know
Never.
what I'm saying? And people, when
I
I
don't
tell people
drink.
that, they're like,
Right.
nah, I just don't drink. I don't
Right.
smoke. It's just never been my thing. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. I do not drink alcohol at all. I put it as God didn't bless me with that gene. That's not my thing. That's not my.
Right.
I've never been drunk in my life.
Two of us
I
then,
don't
so
know what
yeah.
that's like. Mind you, for anybody that's ever been drunk, I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just saying for
Right,
me, I've
right.
never been drunk. I don't enjoy the taste of alcohol.
Yeah, it's no
Mind you,
good.
I'll I'll eat up a buffet in a heartbeat though. You know what I'm saying? But
Word. Nah, yeah.
yeah,
So it just wasn't my. So writing was my way out. Like
right.
I drove in. I just started writing, and I wrote my play and
Hmm.
all that good stuff. But writing is what kind of really pulled me out of it. It was just crying and writing. That's all I did was cry for a very long time. To
Hmm.
this day now, I still, like, every now and then it'll just walk up on me and I just get emotional, start crying, whatever. But it is what it is. So I guess
Right.
I don't know if you answered the question, but would you be open to walking into? Oh, sorry, backtrack. Yeah, so you learned that somewhere, and that's something like one of the therapists will help you dig into, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can be like, yeah, maybe I did pick this up from there, or my great uncle used to drink and blah blah blah, and that's where I learned it from because I watched him. You know what I'm saying? And it'll just help you break down some stuff to understand why you behave the way you do and why
Yeah.
you're handling it the way you are. And I think it's personally for me, I've been going to see a therapist regarding my daddy issues, and it's helped me tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it sounds like you're moving in the right direction. You got a great support system. People are advising you to do the right thing, but therapy is on a real level
Right.
is very, it can be very very
And
beneficial. It has to be
right.
vibration. It has to be something that you want to do, not something
Yeah.
we push you to
Right.
do, not something that you feel you feel forced to do. I don't want to say even encouraged to do. You have to be like, you know what? I think this will help me. I want to go. And
Right.
if that's not
Right.
the case, I don't. Can I say this, Ray? If that's not the case, I don't think you should go.
Or, for me, I would say no, because again, if you're doing something for instance, when your father say you should go to therapy and you don't want to go, but you're doing it to please him, what are you really going to get out of that? Because in your mind, I'm only you're prone to miss sessions. Every therapist is going to tell you if you're not motivated for that change and it doesn't come from you intrinsically, you're not going to get the worth out of it. So again, that's I prefaced that in the beginning, and I preface it in the middle, and I preface it at the end. This is going to be something that comes from you and only you'll know when you're ready you know and it could be just simple as I just want to talk about something. It could be a presenting problem. I want to talk about my brother passing away. And as I was telling Mike, and Mike brought up like, hey, sometimes when we're in the podcast, things go. I'm like, you could be in the conversation of talking about pancakes. And believe me, talking about food in a session goes for 45 minutes because I don't know if you ever got in a conversation about food. Food doesn't end in 10 minutes, but that's just the level and the flow and how comfortable you feel in your session. The therapist is not going to say, hey, no, no, no. We go wherever you want to go. You know what I mean? We go wherever you want to go. We're not the expert on Tay. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever go there thinking they're the expert on me and they're going to tell me, no. There's only one expert on Tay. It's you. It's you. You have to teach us about you. A therapist is never going to go in there. For instance, hypothetically, Mike lost his brother, you lost his brother. For me to think that both of these things are the same, just because I help Mike in one particular way, it's going to work for you. This is not cookie cutter. This is not a cookie cutter thing. Cookie cutter means the same thing for everybody. It's not the same. You know what I mean? Mind you, you guys share a story of losing a loved one, losing a brother, and the pain and the anger that goes with it. However, to get you from A to B is going to be totally different in many ways because we're all socialized differently. Mike's dad is not like your dad. Mike's mom is not like your mom. You know what I mean? What Mike's mom taught him at an early age is not the same thing your mother taught you at an early age. You know what I'm saying? You're going to internalize different things than Mike. So I don't want you to ever think that it's a cookie cutter proposition. It's not. You're the expert. Mike's the expert on Mike. You're the expert on Tay. Mike don't know how you feel about certain things. Mike knows you hurt. Yeah. Does he know the level to where you hurt? No. He knows the level. Mike knows about Mike. You know what I mean? And the therapist is going to treat you like that. And he or she wants to learn about your unique narrative. You're unique. We want to know more about you, And surprisingly enough, you'll end up learning more about yourself than you ever did.
And that's a cold fact.
Mm-hmm.
If you're willing to do the work, you learn so much about yourself, and just it's unreal, Like
mm-hmm.
It's been very, very beneficial for me. So
Yeah.
I think, Ray, I think the session as is coming to an end. I think we got to the surface level of things. We helped this young man understand what's some things he can expect, maybe how to cope with some different things
Mm-hmm.
through the option of therapy in the air. One thing we like to do at the end of every episode is we have our final thoughts based on the episode in terms
no doubt.
of what you took, what you picked up from the episode, what takeaways you have or whatever. So Ray, we'll start with you. Your final thoughts on the episode in this session.
I said it once, I'll say it again. Tay, your number one thing for me is your mental health safety. I want to make sure you always feel safe. And number two, I want to make sure, as I told Mike, as us being elder statesmen, elder Black statesmen, we got to take care of our younger brothers. We want to give you an outlet to talk to us as well. in a non-judgmental way. We want to be able to listen to you. There's times when if you want to talk, I'll just listen. I have sometimes that's all you want is just somebody just to listen. Not somebody with a solution. There is no solution. I think that's one of the misnomers out there, like the problem solving. A problem is never solved. We just learn to live with it. The problem will always be there. So whenever somebody tells you, oh, 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 I solved that problem. No, no, especially when in mental health, problem never solved. It's just that we learned to label it, we learned to understand it, and we learn to live with it. That's it. Your brother, you will never forget your brother. You know what I mean? But guess what? You're going to learn in a healthy way to live with it. You know, you have, you know what, with Mike there, you have no choice but to move forward. And we're going to help you move forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want you to understand that.
Tay, what are your final thoughts on everything we talked about? What's your plan moving forward? How you feeling?
Um, I probably like I don't know. Probably therapy is probably a good thing, just so I don't like get into like drinking and that. Cause like I don't know. I don't want to just like go downhill from here. That's one of like something I stand on. That's why I got back into the gym, and that's why I like separating myself, try to just stay focused. That's really like my plan. Just keep living life though. It's the main part. Can't live in like a like regrets like I was seeing at first. That's what like would have me like angry and stuff at like certain days. Just gotta learn to like I don't know. But that's why the
Mhm.
therapy I think will be good though. Just so I could like get certain things like off my chest.
All right. Well, I want to extend the olive branch, like Ray said. If you ever need me, you got my number. Just hit me up.
Yeah.
We can go for a walk. Crazy. One of the teachers at the school gave me a big ass box of plates, old school plates, and he was like,
Mhm.
"I don't know, but it may help you take them." I went to the little train tracks over here. Little train to a little tunnel,
Yeah.
and just was smashing them bitches up against the wall in the tunnel. But it was like therapeutic for me, yo. Like screaming and just smashing plates. It was a brilliant idea on his behalf. Like, yo, it was crazy how I'm like, what is this man doing? He gave me a big ass box of like silverware, Tupperware. And I'm like, what are you doing, bro? But I went to the train tracks and was just smashing plates, and
Mhm.
it was monumentally therapeutic for me, man. So I mean, we
Mhm.
all have our ways, but like I have moments where instead of punching walls, let's break some plates. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if we have to find any type of measure to help you deal with certain moments, because I don't know for you, but I'm gonna speak for me again. It walks up on you at the craziest times.
Yeah.
Like shit could be good
Mhm.
everywhere else. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, you got the sad face. Everybody else could be sad, and you just find some happiness in your life. Like Tay would or Jay would have rocked this moment right here. And it makes you
Yeah.
smile. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So just be aware that those emotional shifts are going to happen. I also want to say that it gets easier. It ain't gonna never go away, but it does get easier. The timeline is different for everyone, but it definitely gets easier. Um, with that being said, man, Ray, I don't know if you're open.
Right.
I don't know if you're open to this or whatever, but if you want to shout your contact information out, people might want to talk to a therapist. Might get you some business out of here. I don't know. You know what I mean? Even
Oh, no, listen,
social
man.
media or whatever.
Listen. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to meet Tay. Um, hey, I'm just happy to be on this platform, and I'm just hoping that somebody would look at it and be like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I may be going through the same thing. I may be ready to make that step as well. So if this could help one person, I know the old cliche, if it helps one person, but it's true. If it just helps one person, we did it. We did our job.
And that
We did our job.
and that is most certainly a win. Tay, Ladies, you want to shout out your social media? Tell you the pretty guys at gmail.com or whatever. You know what I mean? Give me your Instagram or Facebook name. Let them holler at you, man.
Nah, I got Facebook.
Oh, he really gonna throw it out there.
Absolutely.
Hold on. Tay Rose for me on Facebook.
Tay Rose, T-A-Y?
Yeah, T-A-Y.
T-A-Y Rose on Facebook. Holla at him.
Instagram, you feel me? Jay's Twin.
Jay's Twin
_01, you feel me?
Jay's Twin _01. You dig? Holla at my man. You
heard?
Do
me a favor.
Man, your job. Let me put some paper in his pocket. You know what I mean?
Yo, Mike, do me a favor, man. Next time, if Tay gonna be here, man, I gotta get my makeup artist or something, man. I gotta get some makeup on or something, man.
Tay, lean forward real quick.
You see
the lights? Them things is like light green. He's out here winning right now. That dude with green eyes is always winning. Anyway.
What's that dude in a lighter note? What's that dude that got arrested and they saw his mugshot and he became? Remember that dude?
Yeah, I don't know his name, but homie got turned into a model, right?
Yeah,
he blew up. I was like, damn,
homie
from a mugshot.
Yeah, pretty thug got a pretty thug turned model.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, my man, he got abs and shit too. He might be like a. If you looking for a little model, you know what I mean? Holla at my guy.
Oh no, God, that show's not me. That's not me.
Glad that you came to have this conversation with us, yo. I'm happy.
No doubt.
Helped a little bit. We here if you need me. You have any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns about this particular episode, any other episode, future episodes, holler at us at allblackmenneedtherapy@gmail.com. All Black Men Need Therapy on all social media outlets. So I'm gonna just let it keep recording, but that's the end of the session right there, man.
Okay, cool.
But that's pretty much what it is, man. We pick a topic and we just talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And
it was cool.
So that was it.
It was cool.
And I expected it to be darker, so I'm glad you held your own. Had it been a hot seat, it'd have been all kind of tears. So you
I'm happy it didn't get dark.
If Dad want to come sit down and talk to us, I'm more than willing to open that door with him.
Definitely.
Just to kind of have somebody to talk to. But again, we're not therapists. We are not therapists at all.
Right. This is not therapy session.
But I'm not. But you know what I'm saying?
Right. But we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk.
And that's the thing. It's just real brothers having a conversation. So you got to respect that and hope that you can pull something from it.
Yep.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Great, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
No doubt. Thanks, man. Thanks for bringing me on the platform. It was fun.
We'll go from there, Tay.
Yeah, it's nice meeting you.
You holler at me, man.
No doubt, Tay. No doubt. Yo,
right,
y'all cats have a great night.
We done, man.
Mind you.
I'm probably gonna edit this tonight, which I don't think is much. I'm just gonna let it flow. Put the
right
in the beginning and the end, and just put it up. So it'll be up tomorrow.
No doubt. Here's the thing. I may not drink, but I smoke cigars. So I'm about to go have my cigar. I'm about to have a cigar right now, man.
All right, man. Rock on. I appreciate y'all dudes, man. We'll holler. Do us all a favor, y'all. Wish happy birthday to Belle. Shout out to
No doubt.
Prentice baby coming soon. And do us all a favor and hug a black man today and tomorrow. We out, y'all.
No doubt. Later.